Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Wonderful Beauty.
Thank you for joining us again, you guys. Before we get started, let's go into our K-pop news for the week. It's been a pretty interesting week for K-pop, actually.
Yeah, a lot of random news, I guess so.
So to start off, it's actually been a very big week for group SF9, which is actually kind of funny because we actually have an SF9 episode next month.
Can't wait for that one, actually.
I'm so excited for you to finally watch them. They announced their comeback for March 11th, but FNC Entertainment received severe backlash from Fantasies for dropping the announcement the day before pre-orders.
Oh, that's okay.
Now, I've noticed that's becoming a big trend. Not like teaser and then pre-orders, but like pre-orders are happening either a lot faster, or we'll get a teaser and then we won't get pre-orders for like a month later. This will be the group's 15th mini album. The group currently holds the record for the most number of mini albums to date. They have held this since their last comeback. Zuho will be absent from this comeback, marking his second comeback not participating. Zuho released a statement via IG, but he asked fans not to ask him about it. There seems to be some tension between FNC and Zuho. I missed the statement. I'm not 100% sure what it is. I could bring Becca on, but I have a feeling it'd be 30 minutes of her cussing out FNC, so we don't want that. On the good side for him, he did announce that he will be having a solo concert on April 26th. Former SF9 member Rowoon was invited to the Oscars by the Academy.
Which is wild because from what I can gather, I don't think he's in any like movies that are nominated for the Oscars, you know what I'm saying? So I would love to hear like kind of like the reason why the Academy wants him there. I mean, it's a great honor. But I just want to, I'm so interested in like the whole process of the Oscars, like how their selection process is, how they're inviting like guest celebrities, that sort of thing too. So I
couldn't find anything online. The only thing that I could find were like fan sites dedicated to like his IG updates, and all that they were posting were his stories where he was like, see you at the Oscars. And then I think there's Sundays. So I guess we'll find out something on Sunday about what's going on. Maybe they're trying to broaden their audience a little more. And with Rowoon being in K-dramas, he hasn't really done movies yet, but maybe this is a stepping stone towards that.
Wasn't Parasite nominated for the Oscars? Okay, yeah.
No, they won Film of the Year, I think.
I think they did. We could be wrong, but I mean, Parasite was nominated for a good amount, which is crazy because it's a foreign film, technically, even though it has been shown in America's movie theater market. Yeah. So, I mean, anything is possible, but I'm ready for the, when they post on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, like kind of like the backstory of this whole thing. Because everyone has, them prepping for the Oscars and all this other stuff. I want to see the behind the scenes of the process of them choosing him.
I bet you Rowoon is going to release a video or something on YouTube.
Like a vlog type thing.
There has to be. It's kind of like how Stray Kids released that thing with Tommy Hilfiger.
Yeah,
like getting ready for the Met Gala.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm really interested in seeing that. The boys also announced their first comeback under a new company. Woo! Hopefully, it would go better this time around. But yeah, their comeback will be on March 17th.
Shownu of Monsta X walks the Milan Fashion Week runway for K-Way. Shownu is currently the first and only idol to walk 3 of the 4 major Fashion Week runways. So hopefully next year we can get him that, and then he'll hold that record.
A lot of idols actually attended a lot of the Fashion Week shows this past week too.
Yeah, so they're everywhere. Hyunjin for Versace, Wonwoo for Burberry,
Hoshi for Diesel,
and then Mingyu's in Paris right now, so I think he's doing something. San is doing something with Dolce & Gabbana, I believe.
J-Hope was also there in Paris, probably for Louis Vuitton. He did promote Louis Vuitton a lot, but literally 2 days later, he flew right back to Seoul for his first concert. So, I mean, he's busy too, right out of the military.
Right. Booked and blessed.
Yeah, right, exactly. Keeps him busy, which is good because that means, the momentum did not, fizzle out. So, which is good.
True.
This is crazy, but Jessi finally posted on Instagram and I freaked out. She was quiet the whole time because of the whole scandal thing, but she posted and it kind of slipped our minds, but she appeared for Waterbond in Manila, first appearance since, October? I think.
Since her company parted after the attack. Jay Park is also suing a YouTuber for spreading false rumors backed by a U.S. court, and he announced a world tour.
I think the YouTuber pretty much claimed that he's using his companies and connections to smuggle drugs or something like that and do all these crazy things. And Jay Park's like, no.
So we're back to a G-Dragon scan.
Pretty much. And a G-Dragon's going to be like, yeah, it's, we laughed about it. It was no big deal. And then Alexa announces in the broadcast that she will be debuting in April.
Yes. So rumor has it that she will also be under a new name. The rumor name, again, I don't know how true this is Serenade. I hope it's not Serenade. I know she hates Alexa.
Yeah, I know, but it's like Alexa with a capital X. Can she do Alexa with no capital X? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like the slightest
we were talking, I was like, maybe she could just go back to being Alex Christine, which is what she did for the survival shows. But we don't know if maybe ZB also owns that name. But it's kind of wild because in the last 2 weeks, we've mentioned all these people. And they all reappear like we're matching or something. Which this is not news, but... Also, Lou of VAV showed up on Instagram for the first time in months, and we mentioned him in the last episode.
And you're like, what is happening?
I know, I was just like, oh, there's a lot going on. Astro celebrated their 9th anniversary with the single Twilight. This marks the only group activity since their single Circles for their 8th anniversary. Jin did tease that the group may be having more coming soon, so maybe a comeback. He said that as the leader, it is his responsibility to make sure that Auroras get more content. So hopefully we can finally get something. I know that Sanha is doing a whole bunch of fan stuff right now because he did his solo a couple months ago. So hopefully we can see something. I know that all the members have like been releasing individual videos. Yeonwoo was on an interview recently, and I know that he got very emotional because they asked him about Moonbin. So hopefully they can get together and do something for him. That's my hope as an Aurora.
It'll be really cool to see them come back because now that I'm a fan of them now, not enough to uphold the fandom name, but still, like I would love to see their new music type thing, what they can do. And I'm sure it's because it's their 9th anniversary. They want to do something special too because they've been kind of like on hiatus as a group for so long, so it'd be nice. Weeekly announces Disbandment on February 26th.
There's a rumor going around, not really a rumor, but a lot of fans are saying that Queendom is cursed because they are like the 5th or 6th group to compete on Queendom and then disband a year later.
Well, it ain't happening for G-Idol, so...
Yeah, like there's been a lot of success.
Well, I mean,
yeah, but like I guess Cherry Bullet disbanded right after. I think AOA.
Yeah, I was
one of the names I saw.
Yeah, AOA was one of them too.
Weeekly. Now, I did see a lot of people mention WSJN, but they aren't disbanded. They're still part of Starship. Like, Starship literally mentioned them when they mentioned their tiers. But they aren't currently doing anything. But
they're just like on this like long time hiatus that's kind of like it's kind of like what they almost did with Astro in a sense. Like it's just kind of like fizzled out a little bit. They're doing their own thing. So
LaLisa released her American album Alter Ego on February 28th. She also revealed her light stick. I think it's ugly. I don't like it.
Oh, me too. I agree.
First off, it's way too big.
Yeah, it's massive. It's literally like this size. I'm just over here like, I'm going to whack someone and poke someone's eye out.
Exactly. Also, as an Aurora, I'm already like, the star theme has already been taken by a group. So, like, maybe...
I'm pretty sure the light stick was kind of like a follow-up or a homage to the Rockstar, which is her first, like, American release. So I think she's trying to bring that back in, which I can kind of get the connection, but that's the only reason I got for that side. Or
I just think it's ugly, it's gaudy, it's too big, but
yeah, I can imagine. I mean, a lot of people didn't have good feedback on it. I just think like I'm gonna like if I'm gonna release a content, I'm holding it right. I'm gonna hit someone with it.
She's gonna have to release like a cover that goes on it that's like silicone or something to prevent injuries.
The little crochet thing.
Yes.
And also, G-Dragon has officially come back with a full album with Ubermensch. And it's amazing. I cannot stop playing it. It's so good.
I haven't heard anything yet, but I have seen some of the photo cards. The admin for my San Antonio group, which ironically, she's not even from San Antonio, but...
What? Wait, back up.
Yeah, Yeah, she's from North Carolina, I think. I just sent her a photo card, so I should know this.
She's not even in Texas.
No, but she was one of the admins for the San Antonio 17 freebies group. She posted some photo cards, and they're actually really cute. Which I know that G-Dragon does cute concepts. Anne has not really introduced me to the G-Dragon and Big Bang thing yet.
Not yet.
But I do know that he does a couple of cute concepts, but I saw the photo cards and I'm like, this is not how I picture G-Dragon.
We jokingly say how like G-Dragon is like, you know, his stage presence, like he's a great leader, great rapper, musically, he's talented, all these things. And then Kwon Ji-young, which is his, you know, government name, is like this cutesy little guy, and you're like, the freak are you doing? Because that's what he did for his ending fairy for the Mnet Countdown performance that he did. He was like acting like a total dork. Like he was like curled up on one of the dancers' lap. He was acting all cute. He was like, That's cute. And I was just like, you need to stop. You just killed the stage and you're acting like an idiot.
Also, to wrap things up, we probably should mention this. Seulgi of Red Velvet has announced her comeback. This will be her second one since 28 Reasons. It's called Accidentally on Purpose, and it actually comes out on March 10th. She announced it. All her videos for her last one were all like glitched out and everything. And the comebacks look really, really kind of cool. They have kind of a criminal feel in like the photos and stuff.
Right.
So I'm really interested to see what we get from Seulgi.
That'd be really cool because I think she's a great like all-rounder. Like whatever concept you throw at her, she makes it like it's her own thing. Like she doesn't feel uncomfortable doing it, being outside the box or anything like that. So I'm excited for that as well.
I mean, we are talking about the girl who has mastered the ring walk and scares everybody on variety shows.
I mean, every idol gotta have some random talent. That's her talent.
Which, fun story, I always like to bring this up, that when you and I went and saw Red Velvet, which was my first ever K-pop concert, it was actually on Seulgi's birthday.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, I was like, it's someone's birthday, but I couldn't even remember which member it was because it was so long ago. So I was like, okay, well,
yeah, it was Seulgi's. And I remember during Midnight Melody, we all held up the signs that said "Happy Birthday, Seulgi" from the fan club, and they couldn't finish the song. And ironically, Yuri got more emotional than Seulgi did. And I remember Yuri being like, I don't know why I'm crying. This is for you.
Yeah, I know, really. I'm bawling. And my husband, well, he was my boyfriend at the time, right? And he has never even been to a K-pop concert idol. So this is like his first as well. It was kind of like his pre-concert before we took him to Blackpink. And he looked over and was like, is this how every K-pop concert is? I was like, yeah! I always cry! And then he was like, I'm not going to any boy groups with you. You're going to bawl.
And then he went to Monster X.
And he also went to 17 with, when they did O to You before the quarantine in 2020.
Oh, Be the Sun?
No, not Beat the Sun. Before that. So it's O to You. So that's when they released the Fearless hits.
Okay.
Yeah. So he went to that one.
Remember?
Because Kiddo wanted him to be there because they're like, oh, 17 is my favorite group. I would like for you to see the boys I like. And Kevin, being a simp for my kid, was like, okay, I'll go. And he became like a total dad. He sat there the whole time and just like recorded the kiddo just dancing around. And he just like looked at me and was like, this is your child. I was like, no, it's your child now. You're committed. You're here. You're here now.
Here we are, guys. This is the finale of our 3-part series, Hometown K-Pop Artists. So we started off talking about Miss Alexa from Tulsa, Oklahoma. And then last week, we discussed the massive influence that Seattle and New Jersey rappers J Park and Jessi had on the hip-hop scene in Korea. So now here we are, the epic finale. It only seems right that we end with things with probably the biggest Korean American idol, Eric Nam. Which, I am prepared for this.
Oh, no.
Yes.
No. Your dog speaks Chinese. The moment that Eric Nam has officially became a meme, and probably if he wasn't famous before for, his music and songs and what we're discussing more about his like accomplishments and everything, it has to be that meme. That's gotta be it. Yeah.
So
you can only know Eric Nam from music or that. But for context, for people who don't know where that meme came from, I'm sure people saw clips of it, but they probably didn't see like the whole video. Because I was actually looking for that video because I wanted to have a good laugh going down memory lane.
Yeah.
Amber Liu actually took that down. All the previous videos that she recorded for her vlog when she was still under SM Entertainment, she has deleted it and everything. I'm pretty sure people have re-uploaded it, but I didn't dig that today. I just literally
I've
went
only
to
seen
her.
this clip. I've never seen anything else.
Okay, so pretty much what Amber Liu, what she would do to kind of bring in more promotion and, you know, exposure to FX is that she would do these like vlogs. Most of them it's like, here, try these like American hot chips, and she goes around to like the SM building to the staff and be like, here, try this. Do you think it's spicy? Do you think it's good? All these things. One day at her apartment, she invited a bunch of friends together. Eric Nam happens to be there. And then she was like, we're going to have like this watermelon eating contest. And then so they had 2 watermelons. They split up in like groups of 4 or 5. And they literally had to, they didn't even pre-cut. They have a whole watermelon. They had to slam it down onto the floor to break it open. And they had to eat as much watermelon as they can. And then, you know, when they open it, there's seeds and everything. And then they're like, you gonna get the seedless watermelon? And she was like, this is all I could get. And then they're like eating, they're rushing. I think they only got 3 minutes or 2 minutes. And some of them were like, oh my God, 3 minutes is so long. And they're like, you know, trying to eat as much as they can. And then her dog, Jack, was getting really close because they're like, ooh, there's like random pieces of watermelon that they're just kind of spitting out. So they're like, ooh, food. Amber swallowed her piece because the dog got really close. And she was like, Jack, hui jia, which means go home in Chinese. And Eric stops midway. He goes, your dog speaks Chinese? And they all start laughing while choking on watermelon. And Amber's like, no, she just understands it. What do you mean? I love that clip so much. I love when Amber was doing all these different vlogs too, because she just brings in all these like random, you know, idols that are American as well, but then also bringing just like her, I guess like technically regular friends, you know, from LA and whatever, and they just hang out and have fun. I miss those vlogs though, but that's the meme where it came from. That's a little backstory. Amber Liu, I love you.
I was gonna wear my Eric Nam tour shirt, and I was going through my closet. I saw this. I was like, no, I have to wear this.
You have to.
That reaction was genuine, guys. I just told Anne I was excited for what I was wearing, but she got the reveal the same time y'all did.
Well, no, because you were wearing your Sailor Moon jacket. And I was like, I saw that already. I don't know why you're excited, but I didn't want to bring it up because you're gonna sass it back at me. So.
But also look at his face. Like he's got so much watermelon in his mouth.
Yeah, literally he had so much because he was so shocked because again, they literally only had 3 minutes or 2 minutes to finish as much watermelon as they can. Were they on the same team? Because the other team won, so it didn't really work out.
I mean, it would make sense because I know that Eric spent like 30 seconds trying to get the dog to come back by speaking Chinese to it.
Oh yeah, no, he's like, Hui Lai. He's like, Hui Lai, and like literally holding up, and Amber's like, no! And I think she did midway through actually got up to put the dogs back into the crate, so there's no cheating here, even though that's literally her dogs helping her team. Oh my God, so funny.
We've mentioned it a couple times because we kind of teased Eric up until now. This man has the wildest ride out of all 4 of these idols.
Yeah, I think so. I think this is kind of like a your name moment, you know?
Yeah.
You literally are living the most mundane life ever. And next thing you know, you're famous in Korea.
So I'm going to let you start off this because I think you're bigger into the nomination than I am. Because you've known him longer. So let's get started, because I'm excited.
He was born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. Being an idol was definitely not in his plan whatsoever. Pretty much the typical Asian American dream is literally go to school, go to college, graduate, get like a bachelor's, master's, whatever, and you get a job right away. That's literally, I'm pretty sure that's all American dreams, but for an Asian household, that's literally your plan, and then you get married and have babies. Don't know where the dating comes from, but you get married and have babies. But he graduated from Boston University with a major in international studies. Upon graduating, Eric got a job as a business consultant at Deloitte Consulting. And that's pretty much one of the biggest companies you could ever have for consulting, accounting, anything under that. It's a big deal. It's a huge
Yeah,
deal.
I think I read online that it's in the top 3 of like the biggest consulting companies globally.
Yeah. So the other two would be KPMG and EY. And the only reason why I knew that is because my husband's cousins, not the same person, but like 3 cousins work for those 3 companies. And let me tell you, their benefits is wild and amazing. And I was just like, I've done the round routes. I should have focused more on school. So he uploaded a cover of 21's Lonely on YouTube, and it just literally went viral. Like, everyone loved the cover, all these things. And it went so viral that it somehow reached to Korea, and the broadcasting station NBC invited him to Seoul to compete on Star Edition Birth of a Great Star 2. For it to reach Korea, that is crazy. Like, did the staff, kind of Google this, or like, are they looking like K-pop covers to see what they can bring over, like talent over? And then what's the criteria for that?
Maybe it was just some random intern who was Korean American and just happened across this thing, and they're like, "Hey, we should check this guy out." Because, like you said, YouTube was kind of becoming a thing then.
Yeah,
it's not like that scene in Crazy Rich Asians where they see them out on a date. And Radio Asia 1 sends the message over to Thailand, and then it goes over to Taiwan, and then
yeah.
It's
just like instant, yeah.
Even technology-wise, like, we didn't even have that ability to like send messages back and forth internationally like that.
No, I think messages still cost like 10 cents or whatever.
Yeah. Oh wow. Wow. Why don't you just date us, Ann?
Woo! I love to bring that up because I'll see, my kid texting all the time. I was like, I remember back in my day, each text would cost 10 cents. And they were like, so what do you do? And I was like, you had to write paragraphs. You got to make that text message worth it.
And pray to God that it didn't break it up into multiple messages.
Yeah, exactly. And if someone sends you literally okay, you get so pissed. You're like, that's 10 cents for an okay.
I wonder if that's where my hatred of when people say K comes from.
Maybe. Oh my God, is there a study on that? But anyway, so when he went on that Star Edition show to compete, he was placed in the top 5, and it helped his career in Korea. And right as he left that competition and show, he immediately signed with B2M Entertainment in 2012. From there, he just pretty much gained popularity super, super fast with his music, and then also just being a host for a bunch of different shows. His first gig was with the After School Club on Orion TV and the ASC After Show as the main MC, but left in 2016 to focus on his music career. He also was established to be the go-to interview for international celebrities, so technically, American celebrities.
Right.
In Korea, after being one of the hosts for the NBC Section TV Entertainment, which is similar to like Access Hollywood, which is kind of like a big thing because Access Hollywood, you interview celebrities, is not really like gossipy. It's just interviews where they promote the movies, the music, that sort of thing. So when, like Mission Impossible, the Avengers movies, all that stuff, when they're doing like their promotion rounds to like Korea, China, Japan, and whatever, Eric is always there to interview them because he can easily translate and all these other stuff. Yeah, which makes sense. And notably, Eric Nam was one of the very few English-speaking idols that was able to interview celebrities and translate, because the one I knew before Eric Nam was Tiffany from Girls' Generation. But notably, he has done a bunch of big names for interviews. He's done Robert Downey Jr., Tom Holland and Jacob Batalon, Amanda Seyfried, Miranda Kerr, Paris Hilton, Will Smith, and Jamie Foxx. So the biggest one was Jamie Foxx. This is when The Amazing Spider-Man 2 was doing their promotion circuit. So that he also did like Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone too.
Okay.
But he actually had a longer interview time because I'm sure they're doing it quick. There's so many like TV shows they have to do and all this other stuff. Jamie Foxx actually sung a line of Heaven's Doors during the interview with Eric. And it's funny because
amazing.
Yeah, because so here's the thing. Eric is there to interview the celebrities. But then Eric was like, oh, let me, like, they kind of revealed that Eric was a singer too. And then Andrew Garfield was like, ooh, can I hear a little bit of it? So he was promoting Heaven's Door at the time. So Eric's like, ooh, I'll sing this one line. So he sung it. And then it cuts to where he was asking Emma Stone, like, oh, do you listen to K-pop? And she was like, oh yeah, I like this song. And she hummed it. It was like one of Gina's song way back in the olden days.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he sung a line to Jamie Foxx, because he was like, oh, you're a singer too, let me hear it. So when he sung it, Jamie Foxx absolutely doesn't know Korean, saying it word for word perfectly. It blew my mind. I was like, you have got to be kidding me. And Eric's like, oh God. Oh God. Like, this man just sung my song. But yeah, so because of, you know, how promotion circuits are really, really quick, he actually only had 5 minutes per person. Jamie Foxx enjoyed it so much, he hung out with him for 30 minutes. The interview lasted for 30 minutes. They had a great time. And then when Eric left the room, all the Korean reporters literally started applauding him. They're like, oh my God, you did great. You landed him for 30 minutes, and Eric Nam felt like he was a god.
It's really crazy to think about it because Eric was on an episode of Christy and David Dine Out. I haven't seen the episode, but I saw a clip, and Eric literally said that he went from being a financial consultant to posting on YouTube, and then 10 months later, he released an album.
Yeah.
And like, so think about it. He literally was just a normal guy doing normal stuff. He went on the Korean version of American Idol, and within 10 months, he debuted. He had an album. He was the go-to person for celebrity interviews and became best friends with Jamie Foxx, all within that short period of time.
The turnaround for that 10 months is wild, considering he has no training experience. Think about it.
Yeah,
Every idol would train for at least a year, and yet here he is. He just shows up and was like, yeah, I can drop a track.
Yeah, I mean, like, think about it. So for JYP standards, not standards, but as an example, Bang Chan trained for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
I think Gio from Twice was there for 10 years or something like that.
Yeah, like a really, really long time. Rigorous training, I'm sure. And I mean, the JYP standard of training, it's not to be overlooked though, because look where they are now. They're so successful.
That's
they're so
true.
Talented. But I mean, again, it's not normal or the standard for someone to become an idol in under a year. It's wild. You can't, that's not normal.
And to also be catapulted to that level of popularity so quick, especially because I know that a lot of netizens, especially K-netizens, especially at that time, they were not particularly fond of foreign idols. Even if they were Korean, because think about it, think about when, again, Vernon looks more white, but when Vernon debuted, he was very unpopular. And I mean, we see it a lot more now because it's because we have idol groups and stuff now. But I just think it's wild to think like, oh, I'm over here crunching numbers, and then in less than a year, here I am. I'm on Mnet releasing this song, and I got discovered on YouTube.
It's a crazy story to say in such a short amount of time too. And then going back to what we have previously mentioned with like Alexa and then Jessi and Jay Park, he can't even speak Korean fluently to the where he is right now. You know, there's a certain like the way Koreans speak to how like maybe like a Korean American would speak would be totally different. It might be a little bit broken up. So whenever he would sing songs, or if he happens to be doing something in Korean, he'll literally have cards in front of him, and it's like sounding out words, like trying to figure out and how to say it too, because there's a certain tones to it and just like a certain rhythm to it as well. They to, you know, say all these sentences too. I mean, he's come so far, honestly. You know,
so far, and we'll discuss it as we get further on of like how he went from just another idol to like the global impact that he has.
On top of him doing all these like international interviews and becoming like a go-to host, he also landed a couple of shows as well. He was also on a virtual marriage show for idols called We Got Married with Mamamoo Solar, which is my absolute favorite. It was so good. She was so sassy.
I remember you saying when we went and saw Mamamoo, because we had shirts made, and you're like, "Oh, I'm a Solar bias," and I was like, "Oh, really? What about?" And she goes, "Oh, I've loved her ever since she was married to Eric Nam on that one show."
And you're like, "Excuse me?"
Yeah, I know. I was like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, no one knows about the best qualities of We Got Married and the worst qualities of We Got Married. There was no middle, but watching these idols, like kind of giving them almost a freedom of being able to, I mean, they kind of forced them to love them, but it kind of shows their different personality as well, because like how would I even know about how like Sunjay of B2B and Joy from Red Velvet would even mesh well together, and then you can like kind of see their backstories too, like how they're kind of like not as confident being idols, afraid of being foreshadowed by, you know, like their other members, like their
Right.
sons and, you know, unnies and all this other stuff. So you see different sides of them. But what I love about Solar's and Eric's was that like Eric was like, I'm gonna go all in. I'm gonna love this girl. She's gonna be my wife. And Solar's like, nah, it's okay. It's cool. And then like every time Eric would pull like something really sweet, like a cute little event for her and all this other stuff. So I was like, oh, you really like me.
That just seems so like Eric.
Yeah, he was like, I'm gonna find a way where I'm gonna catch her off guard and she's gonna love it so much. And then like Solar, you know, she's like trying to be like a badass, you know, like she's like, I'm gonna let no man woo me over. And you can see her like every episode just crumbling. She's just like, oh my god, this is so sweet. No, don't like it. And then she starts getting like a little schoolgirl. She's like, no, stop it. That's what I love about that whole arc. That's what I love about it. Yeah, I miss We Got Married. No one can do it now. The fans are too rabid for it. They're not as chill.
That is true.
I know. Every time they come up with like a new couple for We Got Married, people get so excited. And also what helps too is that like, so I think it was one of the Girls' Generation members got married to the CN Blue lead singer and the leader. Like Girls' Generation fans literally went over to CN Blue, was like, oh my god, their music is great, and they like attend their concerts too and everything. So it's kind of like nice crossover exposure. It's great. Also in 2016, he became a host for the Yang and Nam show with the comedian Yang Se-hyun, which is big as well. And I think this is probably like the biggest thing he could have done to where he speaks Korean like fully, you know, like
Right.
there's no like interviews with like international celebrities or anything like that. It's just like a chill talk show type thing to talk about every subject possible. On the podcast side though, which everyone I think knew from him mostly because of all this promotions they've been doing for it, he started the Kpop date blog with Eric Nam in 2019. This also led him to creating the Dive Studios with his brothers, Brian and Eddie. He then created a second podcast, I Think You're Dope, with Eric Nam. Under Dive Studios, they released a bunch of other podcasts with other American K-pop idols or just English-speaking K-pop idols as hosts. They also released Mindset, a mental health platform, and Whiting, a YouTube series, which I think a lot of people get that, like a bunch of memes from too, you know, funny, silly clips from that as well. They got like what? Peniel, they got Amber, they got Alexa there for a while, I think. Ashley, BM.
Kehoe, Eric, Kevin. So to put Eric Nam, Peniel, BM, Eric from The Boys, and Kevin together, every one of those episodes is absolute boys being boys chaos.
I know, and then you can see Ashley, Amber, and Alexa on the side going, like slowly backing up. They're like, we don't want to be a part of this anymore. We didn't agree to this.
Yeah, like there was an episode, I think it was the Silent Challenge, where they're in a library and they have to do a whole bunch of challenges. I think Eric's son from The Boys, he's afraid of bugs, I think it is.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
And I think BM or Pino had to reach in to get a Scrabble tile or something. And,
in the bag or something like that?
Yeah.
Was that what it was?
So think of that DK meme where DK had to reach in to figure out what something is, and he touched the noodles and he's like flipping out. But take that 10 times worse, because The Boys Eric isn't even doing it, and he's off on the side like, no, don't do it. No. No. And it's always funny because like BM is afraid of chickens for some weird reason.
Yeah.
And so like one episode they brought a chicken out and he's like this big beefy guy and he's like, no. And he's like trying to like climb on stuff.
Like a baby. I know. It's so hilarious. And I mean, it's funny too, because like Eric Nam himself wasn't even playing these games. He was just a host. He was like a villain almost, because he knows everyone's fears and was like, I'm going to bring this into this episode.
Which honestly, I think Ashley is the best member because she's the sassiest member out of all of them.
I love her so much. She is so like underrated, but I love her so much. She's so cool. Other accomplishments that he has acquired from his idol journey. 2016, GQ Korea has named him Man of the Year. 2017, he was on Forbes 30 under 30 for Asia. In the 2018 Winter Olympics in Korea, he was named honorary ambassador, and he also did the interviews as well, translating English to Korean, all that fun stuff.
Which is wild, guys. Think about this. He debuted in 2013. So within 5 years of him debuting, he achieved all of this.
Olympics? That's big. That's like a global treasure right there. Well, it's the Winter Olympics, though, so it's bigger.
And I know a lot of people tend to forget because everyone's was more focused on CL performing and 21 getting back together. But it can't be understated that, again, a guy who isn't even from the country, he's from Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta, Georgia, of all places. Like,
why Atlanta, Georgia?
Because in my mind, the only two famous people that I know from Atlanta, Georgia are Eric Nam and Medea Simmons, and she's not even a real person. And to think about the fact that 3 years after debut, he became Korea's Man of the Year. 4 years, Forbes 30 under 30 for Asia. And then at 5 years, he was the ambassador for an entire country at the Winter Olympics.
Which is huge in Korea, too. People in Korea love the Winter Olympics more than the regular Summer Olympics. So, yeah, it's big. Also, in 2023, so a little bit of a jump, Times named him under the 100 Impact Awards as well. So, I mean, he did leave a huge impact for both markets. So, Eric's nickname in Korea is the nation's boyfriend. And there's a phrase in the country which, if you translate from, Korean to English, it's one Eric Nam per household. And he attained this just from the nation, just for his likable personality and impeccable mannerism. Again, think about this. You go to a country where you can't speak the language, but you can't speak it so well with the same rhythm and tones and all these things. But yet the nation loves you for it because you're so polite. You're so sweet. Yeah. You're just so likable. Your personality shines through because you can tell he always tries hard. Like, some people make fun of him for it, like the hosts of different variety shows. But you can still see Eric as truly trying. So that poor man did it.
I know he said on the Kelly Clarkson show, he has absolutely no idea who made this nickname, where it came from, but it's actually in their dictionary kind of thing. So Kelly said, "Oh, so you're like Beyonce with bootylicious. You just made up a word." And he's like, but I didn't make it up. I have no idea where it came from. And it's kind of funny because we say this a lot with a lot of idols. Like, somebody with Eric's status could be the biggest egocentric douchebag on the planet. But you see, as Kelly is interviewing him, which again, we love us some Kelly Clarkson. She's literally a hometown hero for us. And she has done so much for the K-pop community in America because she's one of the only places that has idols constantly on her show.
I know, I think her first one was Rosé from Blackpink. And then after that, she just kept bringing more and more in.
Yeah, actually, I think it was Monsta X. They were the first idols to be on the show and perform. But even during COVID, she had Rosé, and then 17 performed even though they weren't actually there. You can see during the interview, as Kelly is sitting here and asking him about this nickname, he is literally blushing. He's turning red. And you would think, again, somebody of his status, that would be like, yeah, that was back in the day, whatever. But it's so interesting to see how humble and easily embarrassed he is, because again, he could have easily taken this stardom straight to his head. And I think that's one of the things that makes Eric so great.
I'm pretty sure too, when he was growing up like us, he was watching American Idol, the very first season that Kelly Clarkson won. So that's his idol, probably, for all we know. So
he's such a great man.
It's not uncommon though for Korea to name different idols and celebrities as the nation's whatever, because the most well-known is probably IU being the nation's little sister. Doojun for a while from Beast, when he was still in Beast, was the nation's boyfriend, but then Eric Nam got it. Yeah, there's so many random things that the nations will name random idols and celebrities for. You're just okay, sure.
Yeah, I think Red Velvet is actually known as the nation's K-pop group or something, or the nation's idol.
And then Seulgi was the nation's first love or something like that. Or someone else was. Yeah, so there's a lot of random things, but I don't know what the process for that is either. They just name them. Eric was right. I don't know how he got it. All right, so let's get into his music journey right here. So his debut album was Cloud9 and was released in January 23rd, 2013. His title song would be Heaven's Door. The song is very cutesy and represents feelings of extreme happiness and being in love, similar to Being Heaven. The video was a very cozy vibe featuring Eric and his dogs wandering around in the snow and him sending videos to his significant other. Eric leaves behind posted signs for his girlfriend to follow to lead her to heaven, which is his house. Very cutesy, and also just and just thinking about the line that Jamie Foxx sang is again wild. So I'm just like, oh, so many emotions for this one. I mean, it's very cutesy, but I just keep thinking about how Jamie Foxx sang it. Oh my god, Caca. Okay. I'm just thinking about that too. I'm like, I don't know.
Why is this Hazard tongue?
Yeah, I know. That's what I like to know too. Big dog.
You say that until you realize that big dogs have as much energy as GD, but they think they're small dogs.
Yeah, I know. I went to a friend's house one time, and their husky is like literally a lap dog, just wanting to be all up in your space.
Well, think about Ash.
Yeah. Oh my god. It's a big baby. Yeah, just thinking how, like, again, he doesn't have much vocal training at all, like little to none probably.
Yeah.
And still can sing this type of song, you know?
I want to know where the second dog came from.
Yeah, I know, right?
Why did that dog not get to go out in the snow?
He randomly picked it up on the side of the road. Oh, see, now he does it in Korean. He can do it in English. He can do the Korean before.
I do like that Eric gets to wear his glasses more than Wonmu ever gets to wear his glasses in any video. I'm just gonna say, no boy has ever put an eighth of an effort into anything like this for me.
None of it. Eric Dom's setting the expectations a little way too high.
That's why he's the nation's boyfriend.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
You need to send this video to Kevin and be like, you need to step it up.
Step it up, man. And all he's gonna get is, you want two big dogs? Okay. And I'm like, no!
That sounds like Kevin.
Yeah, no wonder girls would like fall for this so fast. This is like a freaking K-drama.
It really is.
Yeah. See, this is the type of thing that Eric would try to pull on Solar, and Solar would just like smack him instead.
I believe it, because we've seen Mamamoo live, and she definitely gives off that vibe.
Ooh. Yeah, she does have a lot of sass, but yeah, so that was Heaven's Door, and it's a very cutesy song, but I think it's a good intro to where people will kind of perceive what Eric Nam is. So I totally get why they would get that Nation's boyfriend title from. And,
Right.
But it also showcases his vocal range really well, in my opinion, for like such a cutesy and simple song in a sense.
Well, think about it. It's like you said, outside of the 10 months of training he had no formal training. Before this, he was literally a financial consultant. To have this just natural talent that a lot of people, again, spend 5-6 years working on. It's just amazing.
He doesn't really talk about this often. He just only talks about like how he, got discovered on YouTube and everything. I wonder if he actually ever like sung at like maybe like church, you know what I'm saying? Like because they have like church choir groups, but he never mentions it. So I wonder if he maybe sung for churches or anything like that.
That would make sense because I know I was watching a video earlier where he was at one of his shows and he said his mom's not very fond of his dances because they're too sexy and that God is watching. So clearly they're involved in the church. So it would make sense if he had a chorus background like that.
And most Korean families in America are more religious than Koreans in Korea.
Yeah, there's actually a Korean church, literally, I think, a 5-minute walk from my house. Following his debut, Eric would release his first digital single, Ooh, which Jackson Wang loves to make fun of him for this song.
All the time, but Jackson Wang likes to make fun of everyone. He even makes fun of like freaking RM. He like humbles him and everything. Like Jackson Wang's everywhere.
Which is funny because Jackson needs to remember that there is that episode of My House where his celebrity crush came by and he's screaming and running through the house, giggling like a schoolgirl.
Yeah, acting like a fool. There was also they did like a GOT7, kind of like a variety show type thing because they just debuted. And they'll invite, other idols in. But it's mostly like JYP. So like, like 2PM's Chansun, my bias was there. When Suzy was still under Miss A, she was there. And they just played different games, missions, all this other stuff. When Suzy came, Jackson acted like a fool trying to win her heart. And Suzy's standing there like, the freak are you doing? You don't act like this at the company. What's wrong with you? And he was like, love me, Suzy!
Ooh would be followed by his singles Melt My Heart, I'm Okay, and Dream. And at the end of 2015, Eric would sign an exclusive contract with CG E&M. From there, he would release his second album on March 24th, 2016, which is Interview, featuring Good For You as the title track. So this is my favorite album. I've mentioned this before. It has Interview, Good For You, and Stop the Rain. At this time, he would also participate in season 1 of SM Station, where he would release Spring Love with Wendy of Red Velvet. Again, he's not even part of this company. And they took this guy who became famous out of nowhere and partnered him with, honestly, one of the best female vocalists in all of K-pop. And the song is so good. I remember when it first came on and I was like, oh, what's this song? And then I saw who it was. I'm like, okay, that makes sense why this is so good.
Yeah, and also to be kind of invited by a huge company. SM, that's wild. Like, that's a big company.
Huge company. And again, to be invited by one of at the time it was just the big three. So like we cannot stress like how big of a impact that was for him to be invited. Later that year, Eric would be the headliner for both KCon New York and KCon LA. This is where he would sing his first ever English single, Into You, and his most recent comeback, Can't Help Myself, which had lyrics written by Epic High's Tablo. Both shows would be sold out, which you're going to notice as we continue, Tablo appears a lot in Eric's career.
And I love Tablo. He is like, because Tablo is a dad. He's like the dad just pops out of nowhere, be like, hey kids, how you doing? You good here? Do you need anything? No? All right.
Oh Lord, he's the mom from Mean Girls.
Yeah. I feel like that's Tablo, but like in the best way possible. Like, because he's there for almost everyone. He even did a feature for Stray Kids. Like, he's literally everywhere. He's so musically talented too. He just won't stop. I mean, with his age, he could stop and just chill at home, but he wants to keep going. He has so much to give still.
My favorite thing about him is the fact that he accidentally made Epic High mainstream, and he hates himself so much for it. But at the same time, he's out here with he's the one making the photo cards and all that stuff, and he's like, this is stupid, but look at me.
Yeah, like Epic High, they're like a hip-hop group. They're not known to be K-pop, you know what I'm saying? Like, not mainstream K-pop. And then literally years later, he was like, look, we made a light stick. And you're like, you're a joke. Every time an Epic High comes around for tour, I always try and convince my kid to go with me because I don't really want to go alone. You know, usually at the end, they come on days that I can't go anyways. But every time I try and convince kiddo, I'll be like, It's just literally 3 dads on stage acting like fools, thinking they're cool. But they are cool musically, but once they start talking, they're idiots. They're dads.
Anne is such an Epic High stan, and you'll see this in a future episode, that she was trying to convince me to go see them 2 years ago when they were here. And I was like, I don't know. She's like, go for me.
Go for me, please. I got the light stick.
No, this was before the light stick.
It was before the light stick? Dang, that's a long time ago. Man, that's wild. I've been trying to go to their concerts for, I want to say like a good 4 years probably. Like right after COVID and everything. I think that's when they started touring again. They try to do it almost every year. Yeah.
Just saying, Epic High and Eric, you guys need to come on a day when Anne can go, because she always seems to miss you guys. And I'm not saying that we are magic, but if we do have magic powers, Eric, Anne would like to see you. I've already seen you, but Anne would very much like to see you.
On a Monday, please.
Eric would get the opportunity to be a featured artist on Gallant's track Cave Me In with Epic High's Tablo. Fun fact, Anne told me about the music video, that Eric and Gallant were both already in Hong Kong for the Mama Awards. So they got together with Tablo and shot the music video the night before the Mama Awards.
And this was talked about in one of the interviews that Eric did with Gallant over the podcast. And they were like kind of reliving the memory, because he was saying like, how do we first meet and all these other things? How do we even come up with this music? Because they want to give a little bit of backstory.
Right.
And then Eric's like, I remember filming at night, and then Gallant was like, we were in Hong Kong, right? Was it like after the Mama Awards? Eric's like, no, it was before the Mama Awards, because we stayed up, we slept for 2 hours, then we went over to the site. And Gallant's like, was someone drunk in the background? And Eric's like, yeah, it's so-and-so. And Gallant's like, yeah. And he was like, that was a wild night. And Eric's like, yeah, would do it again. I was like, no.
Yeah, so we're actually going to show that video now, and this is going to be completely different than Heaven's Door, because this Gallant is more of an R&B and soulful singer. Plus, you also have Tablo here, so, and you're going to see how, kind of like Alexa, Eric is able to fit into other genres so effortlessly.
Works out really well together as well, too, because like Gallant is soul R&B. Tablo's more known to be more a rapper, but when Tablo needs to be, he can sing. He can do like soft rapping. It's not as harsh as like Epic High would. And Eric Nam just has a nice, smooth voice, so it's like he can blend into almost anything.
We're gonna see the Atlanta come out in this one. The Atlanta Soul come out.
Exactly. It's such a vibe. It's like a chill vibe and all those other things. And what's great is that Gallant kind of gave most of the song to Tablo and Eric. Like
that
most
is
of
true,
it,
yeah.
It was mostly them than Gallant himself. Like he could easily add more like ad-libs to it towards the end, but it was just fully just them two.
So Eric would perform 3 sold-out shows in New York and Atlanta in August of 2017. And this is wild, guys. All 3 shows sold out in 1 minute due to overwhelming demand.
And I'm sure for Atlanta, that would sell out a lot quicker because that's his hometown. People are more excited for that. And I think they actually added another show because of that.
He added another show, and then he had to actually get a bigger venue for New York because of how big the demand to see him here in America was.
Yeah, and that's kind of almost unheard of for solo artists. You know what I'm saying? Like, IU will definitely sell out. That's IU. Different. That's different level. But like, I don't want to compare this to BM, but BM does, he did more smaller venues, so it's easier to sell out. This is like way back then too, before even Card came into the picture, before BM did solo stuff. So for a solo artist that's Korean American and coming back to the States, thinking that maybe there won't be as many fans. No, there's still tons of fans here in America. That's wild.
Yeah, and to sell out in under 1 minute. Because I think the record right now is held by BTS for their huge concert in Seoul.
Yeah.
Where it sold out in like 50 seconds or something like that.
Yeah.
But again, you're talking about a guy who, this is his first time outside of KCon coming to perform in his home country like that.
Yeah.
Sold every single seat. On April 11th, 2018, Eric would go to release his 3rd EP, Honestly. This would lead to his first U.S. tour beginning in June. In July, he would participate in We The Fest in Jakarta, Indonesia, as the only K-pop act that would perform. So we're going to now show his Honestly music video, which we're going to see another shift in how Eric performs. You'll actually get to see in this one that he can dance, which when I saw him live, I hadn't really watched any music videos. He literally had dance breaks in the middle of some of his songs. And I remember Rose and I looking at each other like, wait, and we pulled our phones out because we were trying to find out if he had been in a boy group at some time or something. Nope, the boy could just dance.
Which is kind of funny too, because he's known more for vocals. Because I think even when he was, competing in the Great Birth Star, he also did not dance. So, like, he literally sat there with his guitar and sang most of the time. So, this one is one of the songs where he was dancing and choreographed, and I believe he danced with another girl, and it works really well.
I love this song. I remember when we were working on this, I was like, I don't know if I've heard that song. And as soon as that opening note hit, I was like, I know what we're listening to.
I know. Really, I know what this is. Yeah, this is the song that kind of solidified me being an Eric Nam fan. If I wasn't a fan before, just like kind of solidified it even more type thing. I wonder where this was filmed at.
I don't know. It looks very Spanish.
It kind of looks like, I don't know if you ever watched the that Anna Delvey show, or like the drama show of her or anything like that.
I've never even heard of her. I don't know.
Oh, okay, so Anna Delvey is pretty much like this girl who like robbed the rich like millions of dollars or whatever. That she went to jail for fraud, that thing. So one of the hotels that he was in, or the buildings he was in with the staircases, kind of looked like a scene from one of the shows or the episodes that they did. So I was like, I wonder if it's the same place or what.
I wonder if this was shot in California.
That's not California. I'm looking at that scene, I'm like, that looked like California.
I'm just looking like between the prairies and the desert, maybe?
Yeah. Maybe multiple filming. But I mean, all of these scenes are like very like.
Oh, it was filmed in Mexico.
Oh, dang!
Which is why I was like, this seems very Spanish, so it makes sense that it's Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't have got him a hat that fits. I think this is one of the songs that he had a dance break in when we saw him.
Yeah. Yeah, I love him, watching him perform this song for the music shows, because he is always dancing with the girl, and it works really well too.
Yeah, he actually had two guys on tour with him that would actually work as his backup dancers. So it was just wild out of nowhere, because he would start dancing and then these two guys would come out, and me and Anne were like, this is not what we expected from him.
Yeah, did he not want to ride on the hot air balloon or what?
Maybe he's afraid of heights like every other male Korean idol.
Oh, that was such a beautiful music video, though. It's very scenic. Yeah, the colors are wonderful.
So 2019 marked a huge year for Eric. He would release his first English album, Before We Begin. And this, guys, is when Eric would transition from K-pop to global pop star. So he mentioned that he felt more expressive in English, since a lot of his lyrics in Korean lose the sentiment that he's trying to convey. Which would make sense, because again, it is his first language, is English. In 2020, Eric would announce his first official world tour. The show was set to visit 30 4 countries across Asia, America, and Latin America.
Mm-hmm.
The tour, unfortunately, did have to be cut short due to the COVID-19 pandemic. On June 4th, 2021, it was announced that Eric's contract with CJ E&M had expired and that he would continue as an independent artist, which to this day, he is still his own independent artist. I believe that Brian is his manager.
I'm pretty sure because they, at that point, Dive Studios has already been established. So I think he probably just kept it all under that one company. And then, like, keeping it in the family, you know, having his brother Brian to do it might be easier on Eric's part in terms of like planning things out.
I think Brian does most of the stuff because I think Brian gets mentioned more than Eddie. I could be wrong.
Yeah, Brian does get mentioned more, but I feel like Eddie did help start the Dive Studios, but I think Eddie probably does have like a main job, and then the Dive Studios is like side hustle type thing. So that makes more sense.
Well, shoot, if you can make money off of your famous brother, might as well.
And your brother allowing it? Sure.
Eric's most recent comeback was on September 8th, 2023. With his album House on a Hill. He mentioned on the Kelly Clarkson show that the album was inspired by an existential crisis he had while trying to buy a home in LA. The experience led him to start questioning all the things that he was told he had to have to experience happiness, such as a house, the perfect family. It was through his questioning of life and himself that he was able to find inspiration for House on a Hill. And of course, this is more of the American stereotype of how things should go in life. Because in every culture, it's slightly different. But he mentioned that, like, growing up in America, he was told you have to have a good job. You have to have the perfect house. You have to have the perfect wife and perfect kids. And while he found the perfect house, he had to question himself, like, I'm never home. Do I need to spend this money on this beautiful house that's perfect if I'm never going to be there? Which, to put into perspective, guys, he started touring in 2023 for House on a Hill, and he did not stop until like May of last year. So now we're going to show our last video of the episode, and this one is going to be completely different than the other 3 that we've shown. This is called I Wish I Wasn't Me, and this is very much a sad, melancholy ballad. Eric mentioned at his concert, he reached his 30s, like again with the existential crisis of like what he wanted in life. He started to wonder if the fame and everything that he had spent his life on was really worth it. Is that what he wanted his dream to become? And it led him to really question a lot of things about himself, which as people in our 30s, I'm sure I know for a fact that I've had that moment of like, am I doing everything right? Am I proud of myself? Did I screw up at any point? Very much what this video is. And I remember this was kind of like in between of the set, and he literally warned everybody. He goes, in case you guys haven't heard the new album, we're going to slow things down a bit. This song is going to be very sad. And we had a younger friend with us, and she had just gotten into Eric's music, and she literally turned to us and was like, guys, like, do I need to be prepared? And me and Rose were just like, just listen to the song. And then at the end, she literally had tears in her eyes because of how powerful this song is.
Because I'm pretty sure it resonates for like, a lot of people. Doesn't really matter the age, maybe not high schoolers, but like once you like reach college and you're graduate from college, it's like, it's kind of like that scene from Gilmore Girls when Rory, like, when she like graduate from college, she kind of had like that crisis of like, oh crap, what am I gonna do? You know, like I can't secure a job, no like fellowship, newspaper companies would want me, like what the heck am I gonna do? But it went to like Rory's favor or whatever. But like, I'm pretty sure we all been through that where it's like, crap, what am I going to do with my life now? What am I supposed to do? You know?
I would say very similar to that, but I also say it's more of when Rory gets turned down by Mitchum and her life kind of falls apart. Well, she causes her own life to fall apart.
Well,
and she goes through that crisis. And I feel like this is very much what this song emphasizes. Ready to be sad?
Yeah, I'm ready to be sad.
Can someone turn my head down? Can't sleep, got the rhythm too loud. I'm barely keeping breath inside my body, screaming to keep the darkness out. But the monster's not gonna let them in. Fear and doubt are my closest friends. But let's give them a show. Bring out the marching band, hoping that no one can see. When the curtains are closed, I'm alone in an empty room, wishing that I wasn't me. 'Cause sometimes I wish I wasn't me. I wish I wasn't me.
I love the contrast of those scenes.
Oh yeah, where he's happy and it's bright and then it switches back over. But it comes back to that whole thing of where he says, bring out the marching band, let's put on a show. But when I close the curtains, like, so we all have those moments of like, we have bad days, and you and I are in the restaurant industry. We literally have to entertain people.
Oh god,
And,
all the time. Yeah.
and it's very much that concept of like, I gotta get the bills paid, so let me put on that mask, and then when I get home, then I can deal with it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, the way I want to put it is that so when he's smiling and it's bright, that's pretty much like during the day. You're out and about, you're with friends, you know, you're doing clients, whatever, customer service. Whereas, you know, during the night, that's when you can like start being like more yourself, crying, venting, all that stuff.
And then we have this scene where you can see the struggle of where like putting on the mask and hiding is starting to take a toll on him.
I don't want to be nitpicky on the sad song, but he's an ugly crier. I'm sorry. Every time I see him crying, I know it's a sad video, but I just want to laugh because it looks like he's really forcing it. But yeah, those lyrics really hit really deep.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure it resonates for a lot of people.
And I'm wondering if he wrote that song and that is what inspired him to create the mental health platform. Because I think they came out around the same time.
He released the Mindset app platform thing years ago. And it's just like idols' perspective about life. And I think it's very soothing because when idols are being very kind of candid about it, about their struggles, what they're going through, all these sorts of things. And I mean, that's Eric Nam's and his brother's like mission, right? With Mindset is to kind of connect to the fans a little bit closer and saying like, it's okay not to be okay. We can feel you, all these things. We hope this can uplift you, especially when you have your favorite idols literally talking you through it almost in a sense.
Yeah.
He had like a couple of G-Idol members, Miyeon and Yuki. For 17 members, he actually had Minkyu, Joshua, Vernon, Wonwoo, and DK was on it too. They had the Rose on it. Tablo again was on it. Like he had a bunch of different idols. BI, they got Bobby, they even had JB from GOT7 on there too, and also just like more like Asian American artists. So like Ashley was on it, Keshi was on it, Woosun from the Rose was on there too, DPR, they had Jay that used to be in Day 6 as well. It's a huge thing. So I think he kind of carried that also into, you know, this recent music video as well.
Yeah.
To, you know, to speak more about mental health because it's not openly spoken more often in Korea, which I think he kind of took advantage about the American market as well. Be like, you know, I can sing about it, I can express even more. Which
we mentioned it in BAP, but it's so great to have people in this limelight, such as BAP, Jungkook specifically, Eric Nam. And I would say actually having DK as part of Mindset is probably a big help because the DK we know is the silly, goofy guy. And so like, it's for someone who sees that all the time, it would be relieving to me to be like, he goes through this stuff too. But it's just, it's important. And we can't thank these idols enough, Eric, Jungkook, and all of them to give a platform, especially in a country where it's not exactly talked about. Because in America, we're kind of getting to the point where it's kind of okay to talk about it. But when you have more conservative countries such as Korea,
it's harder.
And we mentioned it again in BAP that like everybody starts standing up in the Wake Me Up video when Zello is on the TVs telling everyone it's okay, let's rise up, let's start the emotion revolution. So to have 17, the Rose, G-Idol, and all that be on this platform probably did open a lot of doors for Koreans to actually speak up and say like, hey, you know, sometimes it's not okay.
Yeah, and it helps a lot too with Eric, Nam, or just the Nam brothers in general, kind of backing this up too. Is that like obviously you have like Fern and Joshua who can speak English, right?
Yeah.
They can cater more to the American fans, right? Whereas like DK, Mingyu, obviously they can't speak as well in English, but when they're portraying all these episodes in Korean, they're obviously appealing more to the Korean fans as well. So it's
Yeah.
kind of helped bridging that gap too and making that connection. And I mean, you can watch the Mingyu and DK and all the Korean speaking idols because they translate with the subtitles and everything, but it's different when you're kind of like a podcast, you're listening to it whereas you're watching it, so I'm sure it hits different for both ends. To wrap things up about Eric Nam, hometown hero for us, the impact that he made for both the Korean American music industry is like breaking down a wall. He's literally bridging this gap. He had the American dream of landing a big job in the big three company for consulting, but then he ended up being in Korea to become a K-pop star and releasing that American dream.
Yeah.
Well, that was common now for more Asian Americans to become a K-pop star. I'm sure it's hard because, again, there's these cultural differences. Just like with Jessi and Jay, they cannot handle how to be more Korean when they're also Korean American. Eric consistently let his mannerisms and humble personality showcase while doing his job, and people are just instantly drawn to it. Also bridging that gap of international relations, which in hindsight kind of says what his job was before becoming a musician, because he did graduate with international studies. He landed so many interviews and people grew to love how he is as a talker. Him also releasing an English album as an Asian American is so inspired to all Asian Americans in the US. Growing up, we didn't have that inspiration or model to look back in our days, but this new generation kids can look up to Eric Nam and thinking, yeah, I can do that too. He had accomplished so much in his career, and it's absolutely a marvel how far he has come. And I absolutely cannot wait to see what else he has in store. And hopefully there's no more midlife crisis. You already did it. We don't need any more, Eric.
We saved Eric for last purposely for the impact that he has. Mm-hmm. Jessi and Jay Park did so much for the Korean hip hop and rap scene. Think about it, like with Eric Nam's success, without it, would Alexa have been able to do what she was able to do in both markets? Like we said when we started this series, is like Joshua and Vernon, BM, all these people who are part of groups have done so much for the Asian American community to be like, look, it's possible. Look, we have representation now. But when you take Eric's point of view and Alexa and Jessi and Jay Parks, these are people who were on their own. Yes, Jay Parks started out in a group, but he was very quickly thrown out and became more famous as a soloist. Really, we have these four people to thank for, like you said, bridging that gap. There are a lot of other people, and I'm not downgrading what Vernon did, what Joshua has done, BM and stuff like that. But like you said in the first episode, it's so much harder as a soloist to reach that dream. I think, personally, that the efforts from these four people, especially I would say Eric and Alexa, because they've done more in the American scene, that they are going to open up so many more doors for people who aspire for the same thing. Really, Eric has broken the glass ceiling with his all-English album and his tours.
He definitely did, because like no Asian American that broke out into the K-pop world, right? And then to come back to your home country, right, being American, to release an album and for it to have the success is crazy. Because it's like, for one of the big top Asian American artists right now currently that's a soloist here in America will probably be Keshi. Keshi has never gone outside of the country. He's already claimed his fame being an Asian American. That's great, but you're talking about a K-pop idol coming back home and releasing an all-American album and then has all this success and then working his way up, being to where he is now, where people can look up and just be an inspiration for Asian Americans for this generation, because we didn't have that growing up. Like the closest Asian star would probably have would be like Jackie Chan, like, but he doesn't even sing or nothing. That's just, you want to becoming a like karate, kung fu movie star.
Eric's journey is kind of the opposite of what Jessi said, because like she said in Spirit Animal, I made it big in the homeland. It's been a long journey. Eric did make it big in his homeland. To turn that back around, like you said, and to do it again, literally where he was born and raised, an even bigger career here speaks volumes on what he has done as an artist and for the community.
Representation really does matter, because back then we didn't have many Asian Americans or just Asians in general in the industry. Now suddenly it's like this huge influx of it. And K-pop being big now globally helps a lot, especially here in America, because, you know, not many people were into that whole thing. But now K-pop is like a household name. Eric Nam was also very smart in terms of kind of using that to his advantage, releasing an all English album, not just like Korean, because he can sing Korean, but doing it in English again and expressing himself and being true to who he is speaks volumes.
And now he's actually in movies too. He's
an
actor now, and he does voice work now, because so I was supposed to see him in September, but he had to cancel, and we were all like, "Wait, why is he rescheduling? This is weird." Yeah. And then it was revealed he's the voice of adult Avatar Aang in the new Avatar movie that's coming out.
And you're like, you know what? That's a valid reason. You can cancel all you want.
When I try to introduce people to Eric, I always say his star quality is so powerful that when we went and saw him in Austin, we were in an outside venue. He wasn't able to get another venue when he rescheduled, but we were at Stubbs in Austin, and it was 36 degrees outside.
Yeah, it's cold.
We couldn't tell. We were having so much fun, and we were so hyped up watching him sing and dance. We didn't get tea time because some of y'all ruined it. I'm still bitter about that because I know you wanted a video. You're like, oh my God, record tea time.
Yeah,
and then I was like, oh,
on TikTok.
He canceled it.
I know. It got too dirty.
Oh yeah, it was because people were too dirty, too vulgar, but we were out there dancing with him, having a great time that until literally we were exiting the venue. That's when we realized, holy crap, it's cold outside.
Yeah, as if like you being in the venue didn't like make a huge difference or nothing.
Yeah, because it's literally it's a barbecue restaurant that has like an outside venue.
It probably has like those like tent covers or whatever.
Yeah,
or like
actually it did, but it was only the soundboard people. They're the only ones under it. I also would like to say that Eric also makes sure to pay it forward. He always has a young Asian American artist as his opening act. So when we went and saw it, it was Tiffany Young, our friend Maricela, the younger one. She actually was more into, not that she didn't love Eric, but she was way more into Tiffany's sound than she was into Eric's when we left. So that's another thing that I admire him for, is that he's physically using his platform by taking these young Asian American artists on tour with him to make sure that they can get their time in the sun as well.
Which is great. And I also want to clarify, it's not Tiffany Young from Girls' Generation.
Oh, no. Completely different person.
Can you imagine? Suddenly you see all pink light sticks, you're like, what's happening? What's going on?
Thank you guys for joining us on all three parts. We could find other people to focus on, but we wanted to focus on the four main people.
That literally has influence and somehow changed the K-pop and American history or industry as well, musically. I mean, they've done so much all across the board, and just can't wait to see what else they can do, especially for Alexa since she's coming back. I can't wait for Jessi to come back. I'm waiting for that J Park World Tour, and then Eric Nani's come back to. I want to come back.
I'm just worried about the J Park World Tour because, especially if it's you and Annie or you, Annie and Nicole, y'all gonna need a chaperone.
It's only going to be 21 plus, and as it should be.
I'm just saying, if I get the chance, I'm going out there because I'm going to be seeing some Momoe.
Yeah, I know, right? I think it's actually Momoe's 10th anniversary.
Yeah.
Ooh. That's how long it was ago. I know. I was like, you have got to be kidding me. So we have a friend. Her name is Christina. TJ knows her, loves her very much.
That's my Disney World wife.
I know, right? The Haunted Mansion buddy. So she also knows K-pop, but not fully like as deep as we are in.
Yeah.
But she obviously knows like J Park's Momoe, and then like I literally had this like age gap thing because she was like, "Oh my God, I remember listening to this when I was in high school," and I was like, "Holy crap, you're that young! Holy crap!" And I was like, "Why are you listening to this when you're in high school? Stop it!"
Which,
she's the sweetest girl.
When I introduced my friend Ray to K-pop, I didn't realize that I actually put Momoe on her playlist too.
But I mean, you're again showcasing a wide range of K-pop.
But thank you guys. We have a lot more coming up. We actually have another series that we're going to start next week. We're actually going to deep dive into genres besides pop because there's a lot out there. We're going to do rock. We're going to do bands. We're going to do hip hop, which Anne is super excited to do more hip hop. I have to reel her in, guys. I have to make sure she's not Hoshi just be going epic high, epic high, epic high.
No. I'll do some good. I'll talk about Tiger JK. I'll talk about Yumi Ray. I'll talk about Dynamic Duo. The list goes on. It will not just be epic high. Hopefully.
And then I'm gonna talk a little bit about Jungkook and BAP, Dreamcatcher, Pink Fantasy. I'm really excited. And then bands. I'm super excited for that episode because all I know band-wise really is Day 6. And I've dabbled a little bit in the Rose and 1W. So I'm really excited to see, because you're like, wait, you've never heard of all of these other people? Let's fix that.
FT Island, Trax, CM Blue. Oh my god, we gotta go way back in the day and start it up. But yeah, because we also kind of do want to do like a history of it, but it's gonna be interesting to see across the board for all genres how they're kind of different but also the same in each category. Yeah. So yeah.
And then after we finish the series, we'll go back to our normal stuff. But like, subscribe, comment, let us know between these 4 artists, like, who did you know about beforehand? Who have you started listening to now? Or maybe share your experience of like what Eric or Alexa's music has actually done for you as an Asian American. Or, you know, what has Jessi done for you besides being a thirst trap? Same with Jay Park. Which we are so excited that Jessi's back, guys. Like,
oh no,
because we've been waiting for it. We both love her. She's a queen. But hopefully we'll get to see you guys again next week.
Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Bye.
Bye.